I feel like in this market, when we think about AI and the powerhouse, we usually think about like things like the graphics cards. NVIDIA is probably one of the first things that comes in mind. But outside of that, in the data center, you need to make sure you have plenty of power. So ABB kind of provides solutions for there. The other thing that they also really focus in is in e-mobile. So here's like electrification of vehicles, which seems to be a really strong trend right now. And this is their biggest revenue segment. These are quarterly revenue. This is, I want to say, a little bit less than half of total revenue. The other market that I think is super cool is the robotics and discrete automation. Here, this is a company that focuses in creating pretty cool robots. These robots are used for numerous things. Many people might know them for the heavy manufacturing in car production, but we're going to take a quick look at this is a company that's focusing on making these robots smarter and being able to kind of, they say collaborating robots. And when you kind of say collaborating robots, you mean robots that can work well with other people. So that's pretty interesting. And this is their smallest segment, but I do believe it's one that's going to grow over the years. We can see market cap is 72 billion. I also wanted to take a quick look at this because I normally focus in growth stocks to some extent, but I also like to learn about maybe those that are not might not be a heavy grower stock, but can still kind of make a difference in that market. And this is one of them. This is probably more that, hey, someone who's kind of looking at some dividend yield, but also trying to kind of get into this automation market, into like this electrification market that's kind of moving the market right now. So this currently has a dividend of 2.4%. Let me just take a quick look at, where do I have it? Have it here, I believe. And this is kind of, nope, sorry.
This is
wrong
like every
slide.
day for me, Jose.
It wasn't actually the same one. So I also wanted to look at price change. We can see this is one that in the past year has performed pretty well compared to the overall stocks that we've seen so far. This is also one trailing 12 months, plenty of revenue. Like I mentioned, not a heavy growth company, but one that has kind of maintained a stable cash flow from operations. If we can take a quick look at their short-term cash and investments, it's pretty similar to kind of that long-term debt. Remember, this is a profitable business. This is a company that also has kind of a nice positive cash flow from operations and returning to shareholders. We can see most recent quarter, it grew 5%. I still think 5% growth is impressive for a company, in a multi-billion-dollar cap company. I know some might kind of disagree with it. Kind of going back to the presentation, and let me go with the slideshow. There are a few cool metrics that I thought, recent news that I thought were pretty interesting. They are heavily focusing in e-mobile solutions. They believe this is going to be a market that will grow dramatically in the upcoming years. So they're really focusing on investing there. They have solutions for truck charging. So if you're kind of a big truck fleet that's kind of focusing on electrifying your trucks, you're coming to ABB to kind of get those truck charging solutions. They recently acquired majority stakes in numerous charging station companies, not only here in the United States, but internationally. In China, they just increased their stake in the charging station there. So they're really focusing in this e-mobile solution. They were also recently selected for e-bus solutions. I do believe the e-bus market might be an interesting one with public transit. And then we can also see that they recently secured an $80 million order for traction and battery solution for e-trains. And this is in Spain, I believe, this $80 million order. So they're really focusing in this e-mobile solution. Now, if we take a quick look at the robotics, they have recently partnered up with numerous AI companies to build better automated robots. And I wanted to show some of the robots that they have. If you go to their investors presentations, they have a lot of great insight on the robots they create. For example, they partner up with this company called 7 Sense. And here, this is at 7 Sense, they focus in things like 3D vision and mapping, so a way for your robots to see. And here they have a solution of, hey, this is maybe a cleaning robot at an airport, it seems. And because it kind of knows where people are, or because of its vision, is able to move around them and kind of work around its obstacles. Another one is they also partnered with a company called Covariant. And here they also focus in artificial technology. So this is an ABB robot. And because of the kind of partnership with Covariant, this robot is able to either determine what type of packaging is picking up and is able to put it in a special kind of either, let's say you're an e-commerce store, maybe you want to place it in a certain bin. If it's a product this small, if it's a product this big, it goes into another type of bin. And finally, they're kind of already demonstrating, they have numerous robots. And if one really wants to learn or just is fascinated with this market, I definitely would recommend checking out their website. They show so many different concepts for their robots. Here is one that they called Yumi. And this is one that's being used in the healthcare market, in the healthcare industry. And this is taking things that will, maybe your health worker right now is doing a lot of repetitive tasks. This robot can help a lot with either just going out to fetch medicine, prepping the medicine, something that a healthcare worker might do right now, but it's just time consuming. So this robot can help out during that process. So I think overall, this is a pretty interesting one to keep an eye out. Just final thoughts. This is not a true growth story, right? I feel like sometimes when we look at emerging markets, we try to find the true growth companies, but could be a potential play, like I mentioned, for investors that might want to be in the market, have a dividend play, but be in a company that's very stable at times and still providing some form of returns to shareholders. There is huge growth potential with the e-mobile solution and the automation robotics. That's where they're really focusing on. They also do provide strong solutions for data centers that are not as attractive investments. Like I mentioned earlier on, I feel like many people just want to get into the processing power, the graphics cards, the processors out there. But sometimes you need to remember, hey, the electrification, the power solutions are equally, maybe even more important to keep these data centers running. I don't know if these are risks, but something I wanted to kind of show the viewers is, one, this is a big company and it's focusing in many products. So one solution might not move the other business too quickly. Like I think we've talked about it in the show, where it's kind of difficult to kind of turn a big ship compared to like a small boat. And it might not be one that growth investors might kind of find attractive. But overall, the solutions that they have, the kind of markets that they're hitting, I thought it was definitely a pretty impressive company to kind of at least showcase.